Hello, everybody. Reggie Time here, and in just a moment, we're going to be looking at, I think 7 or 8 hands I played on Sky last night. Then at the end of the video, we're going to be looking at my graph for the month and discussing why it isn't as impressive as I would have liked it to have been, and talking slightly just for a short period about my plans for February. Um, Oh, I was going to say something else then. Oh, yes. Thank you to those of you who've reached out to me via Discord, Facebook, um, Twitter, um, like saying, "Oh, are you okay, Reg? You haven't made a video for over a week, etc." I'm completely fine. Thank you very much. I just haven't been in that much of a mood to make poker videos. I kind of got burned out with speed poker, and the last week I've just been kind of had pretty low volume on Sky, trying to kick the habit of speed poker. So I've just been two tabling Sky, just like um re-falling in love with the game again. And I've been enjoying that, but I just haven't been asked to make a video. But it's the first of the month, so we're doing we'll do a quick like recap of last month, um, and we'll look at some hands. And I think going forward, we'll get back to maybe doing just oops, that's my phone falling off and hitting me. We'll get back to doing at least one video per week. It probably will just be one as well, I would imagine. And it's more than likely going to be Sky content, which I know a lot of you guys like, so that's going to be good. I'll crack on with the hands, and we'll talk more about that at the end. For those of you who miss my very good baldy friend Juicenberg and his Monday night streams, you're not going to see him today. You're not going to hear from him today, but we are going to look at a couple of hands he played last night because he was skillful and lucky enough to make the final table of the mini, and I was railing him while I was playing like my one remaining table, and we were lucky enough to catch a couple of hands from his final table. So we'll take a look at them too. So here, this is a 50 pot limit table, if I recall correctly. We've min raised the button. Deuce Cameron in the small blind, very good player. Arthur in the big blind. Interesting player is Arthur. He's got my blue tag because he plays a fucking ton of hands. But it's a strange one because he just seems to like control so many pots post flop with some like frankly absurd bet sizings. And it's not just me he does it against. I've seen him do it against tons of regs where he just manages to control pots from out of position with tiny bets. A little bit like Calabo does in the what was able tournament streets on Sky. It's bonkers how he does it. He regularly has a lot of chips, and presuming is maybe not too successful as a player, but he regularly has a lot of chips at the table. He's he's an interesting guy to play with. So, anyways, we flop top set, so go us. So we bet. He called. We upsize the turn. He calls, and then he does this on the river. This is like classic Arthur. I mean, it doesn't matter here because we've got the nuts, so we're going to raise. But this is going to lead into another hand, which is why this hand's in. It's going to lead into another hand very shortly. He does this. We have like the world's easiest raise, of course. And I can't remember. He's going to call. We're going to win. And I can't remember what it was he had. I think he had the ace. But I don't remember. I don't think I checked it later on. That isn't how we wanted to look at this King 5. It'll move on in just a second. I hope it does. Come on, King 5, fuck off. Yeah, this is the one. So we've got the 10s now against Arthur. He's min raised, blind versus blind. Bear in mind the last hand with his sizing, with his like small sizing, he like repots. And this is pretty concerning from Arthur because this just isn't what Arthur does. Arthur's a limper. Arthur is not much of a raiser pre. He's definitely not much of a four better pre. So like, time to get there versus Arthur because he probably just has pocket aces here. One would imagine. So we do end up coming. I think they can make a case of folding, but I think when someone's range is so well defined as just being hyper premium, I think we can still just about set mine there profitably. Yeah, not the flop we were looking for, but we do have we have a pair, we have a backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw, and he's bet £1 into £17 as it was, £17 10 pence. So obviously we're going nowhere. But this is just what Arthur does. He just does these small bets post flop a lot of the time. I think sometimes he does them with nothing, and he just quite quickly falls to a raise. And then sometimes he does them as like an inducer to like three bet. He just bets one big blind, two big blind, three big blinds a lot post flop. He rarely uses a big size. Almost never uses a big size. Sometimes it's just this and fold. Sometimes it's this to set up a three bet, I guess. Or maybe I don't fucking know. It's weird. It's weird. So we just call, of course. Turn king. He now bets 50% for 50 pence into £20. I'm like, all right, okay, Arthur. I guess we just call and just like, what else the fuck are we gonna do? And the river comes and he's checked to us now. And I was contemplating, he told me to hover over the pot button there. I was contemplating potting, thinking, can we ever get Arthur to fold like pocket queens here? Maybe even can we get him to fold pocket aces? And then I realised, no, it's Arthur. He's not going to fold those hands. So we check back and Arthur just shows quads. So Arthur 4-bet to £9 pre with quads and then got £1.50 in post flop with his odd bet size. I just thought that was a really interesting hand and probably a hand that's going to amuse quite a lot of you. So that's why that one's made it. It's not necessarily to dig out Arthur. I just thought it was one of the more like amusing hands of the evening. We've got kings again. I was about to leave this table. We have like 3 regulars in position on us and the 2 blue players between them up of like £18. Part of my strategy for 2-tabling is to table select really well. If you're playing really low volume, like I'm going to be doing, you know, and you want to make at least some money over the month, you've got to table select really well, and you've got to play towards the top end of your buying range. So I'm going to be focusing on like 30 and 50 and L for the month, and I'm going to focus on having really good tables. I'm not rarely going to join tables because normally mature tables I already have 2 or 3 regs at them. I'm going to focus primarily on tables starting or joining tables that only have like 2 or 3 players at them, so I can hopefully choose a good seat. Or when I was table starting, hopefully a good game will just develop around me and I can have like a pretty big win rate. So I was about to leave this table, but we haven't quite got round to it, and we've got the kings. So this wouldn't be a table you would see me at, just because there's not enough money in front of like the blue tags or the green tags, and we are at a position to 3 regulars now. Anyways, Hampshire's limped in. We're squeezing it up to £1.80. Train poker makes it £5, and I'm pretty familiar with train poker. He's on the face of it, he appears to have done really quite well. Pretty sure it wasn't too long ago, unless I'm getting him mixed up with somebody from lower stakes. He was playing 10 and L, and he appears to be like rising through the ranks. He's 20 and L and 30 and L and 50 and L. I believe he's playing some 100 and L now. So he's obviously done really well. In my opinion, and this week could be wrong, he's pretty tight, pretty conservative player, which is all you need to be on Sky. You know, if you're doing that, you know, there's probably enough dead money around for you to make money. And he's obviously done very well. On top of that, he's a friendly guy. At the tables, he'll have a little chit chat away. You know, yeah, I just like him. I don't like having him at my table because I think, like me, he's a boring fucker who just doesn't play many hands, and it's not someone I'm going to have a particularly big edge against. I don't think he's going to have a particularly big edge against me either. I think we're kind of usually just trading chips and paying a rake for it, which is why I don't really want that type of players at my table. I don't want any of these players at my table. Train, Rancid, Anuj. I think Anuj probably has edge on me. I think Train and Rancid, very different players, but I think in terms of like overall edge versus each other, it doesn't really exist. But the rake just like, takes money from us. So yeah, I just don't want to be at tables with 3 people like this because I just think that it completely, well, not completely, but it erodes a lot of your edge. So unless there's like a very good reason with the players to my right to stay, I'm not going to stay. And I think Train, my read on him when he does something like this, because I think he's a conservative player. I don't think he does this with jacks, tens, nines, etc. I think he's flat in those hands. I think probably does this with queens. Obviously does it with aces and ace king. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he does with his ace king. But it's not a pleasant spot because you know he's got a very very value heavy range. I suspect almost zero bluffs because like in this exact setup we've got like um he'll know Hampshire's a pretty loose player. You've got a loose player who's limped in off like a sub 30 blind stack. And then you've got me who's isolated into 6x from a small blind. And he knows I'm never folding to Hampshire. So he knows I've got a hand that's going to put at least 30 bigs in against Hampshire. So that when he three bets here, his range just has to be insanely strong with virtually or perhaps zero bluffs. There's nothing we can do. We just have two kings. I mean, the money just needs to go in, but it's pretty sickening because you already know like, well, let's hope this is queens. If it's not queens, I'm quite possibly fucked. It's one of those spots where, in my heyday, in my absolute prime, I genuinely could have folded this hand. I was talking to someone on Discord about it last night privately. We were just chatting generally about poker and sharing some boring poker related bad beat anecdotes. And then we discussed this as a spoiler alert. We're going to lose his fucking hand. Just ruined it, haven't I? And yeah, I was saying how years ago I would have folded this and I would have shared the hand and discussed it with people just as much as anything else to get the reaction about folding king pre. But sadly, I'm not the player I used to be, and I did end up just ripping it in. And of course, he had aces. Maybe we wouldn't even be having this discussion if he had queens, but maybe he doesn't always do that with queens. This hand's a fun one. Got a blue type player with starting the hand with maybe 27 bigs, something like that. We three bet to 11 bigs with ace king. This guy just snap call. If we go back and just take joy in just how quickly he did snap call. Get to him. Bosh. He's got literally 2 seconds. He's like, all right, I'm in. Get me to the flop. Milfus takes a little bit longer to make his decision. And he goes all in. We're obviously going to go all in. Hoping he calls. Look how quickly he folded again. Look at, so we're hoping he think he might fold. I'm going to see his hand now, but look how quickly he calls again. Bosh, 2 seconds, 9-10 suited. I'm your fucking man. That'll do for me. Let's just rip in whatever the fuck that was, 17 quid. So which is what, like 50, 60, 55, 60 big blinds? Ace king. Beautiful. You love to see it. And I mean, yeah, we're going to win this hand. Goes, aren't we fucking genius to getting the ace king in pre? But this is kind of what my strategy is going to be based on for the next, like, for the foreseeable. It's going to be just getting in at good tables and just hopefully long term collecting the like looser money that's out there, just hoovering up. That's what I always used to do. It's what I was always about before. If we go back in like reverse order, before this, before I was like playing poker for like half a living again or 2/3 of a living again. I was on the apps, so that doesn't count. You know, I was making decent money, and that's forget about it. Before the apps, this is what I was doing on Sky Poker. I was just playing 2-3 tables and just like feverishly game selecting, just getting myself at good tables constantly, not bothering about volume, not bothering about rewards, just bothering about being at really good tables for like, I don't know, 100 hours a month. And just knowing that at the end of the month, even on low volume, I'm pretty much guaranteed to just get the money. And that's what the strategy I'm going back to. Not because well, yeah, for a lot of reasons, I suppose, and we'll touch on them a little bit more at the end. But as much for like just the purity and the enjoyment of the game as like how much money it makes me, I could probably make a comparable amount of money grinding my tits off on somewhere else, but that's not fun. But we'll talk about that more at the end. But this is like what I used to do, is getting at good tables like this, like just 3-4 like non-regular players, and just there putting the hours in, hopefully getting them at the end of the month. And I mean, yeah, we've ran well here, you know, because we've got it in. Our equity is probably like only like 30%, but we win the entire pot. Maybe like 35% equity before the hand. I don't know. I'm not good at that sort of shit. I could just put it in Equilab and run it, but I can't be asked. But basically, we get it in is not exactly a huge favourite. But we do win a nice pot. Onto this one. This one's. I don't think many of you are gonna like this. I don't think I like it, to be honest. Let's finish my cup of tea. So this is something that I struggle against. And I certainly haven't found a solution to those problems yet. Is someone like Breticus, who is, in my opinion, but it could be an old read. Like pretty aggro pre-flop, 3 bets pretty wide, and uses a big sizing. Now I don't know how wide he's 3 betting, of course. I don't have a database I can go into and like research him, what he's doing in hands that I'm not observing, etc. Like you can on like when if you're playing on a tracked site, you could just search the player, and you can just see every time, every hand they've had. You can run filters, right? What's this guy 4-bet with, 3-bet with? Sorry, what's he got to showdown? Let's look at his 3-bets, get to showdown, and try and figure out what his ranges look like a bit more. You can't do that on Sky. It's very much just this motherfucker feels like he 3-bets more than the average person, and he's also using bigger sizes, and it's difficult to play against. I'm about to go all in here, and I don't think I like it, but I decided later last week that against people who were using like highish frequencies, and no one's getting way out of line, but against people who are using higher frequencies and also using this like 12x, some people even use a 13x sizing. I'm just going to not call pre, so I'm just going to do a lot of folding, and when I'm not folding, I'm just going to fucking jam. And I'm just going to jam my entire range, so that includes like aces, kings, etc. I mean, when you've got the aces, sometimes it's tempting to not jam, but it's like, what size do we make this here? That is ever 4-bet folding. I mean, guess we could have some clickbacks and just play pots in position, etc. So there's other things I can do, but at the minute I'm just toying with this strategy, just jamming, and I kind of did a little bit of remedial work and figured out I could probably jam as wide as 9s. And the ace queen suited maybe, and do okay, assuming that we're going to be getting folds like a decent amount of the time, like maybe 80 to 85% of the time. And then when we get called, we're not going to be in great shape. But I kind of thought we could go as low as 9s. Last night I thought, just fuck it, we'll just try it with the 7s. I mean, it's a punt, it's a massive punt. I'm not sure I love it, but the reason this hand's in is just to get feedback from anyone who has any opinions on what they think of just like having a jam strategy versus these like larger sizings. Like when people are going 12x pre-flop, so you know it's not really that profitable. Well, in my opinion, it's not really profitable to call with many hands. And so people who are going 12x pre-flop and who are maybe on the higher end of the frequencies. So maybe he's doing this with like so anything from a 12 to an 18% range here, something like that. And I think that's probably where I'd put him if I was guessing. Certainly one of the more active people pre-flop in these games. And I think he's a decent player too. He's orange tagged at the moment. That's an old tag. I think he's maybe a decent player, but I don't know enough about him. Yeah, I just wondered like what people think of when people make it like this size or 13x of just like folding a lot and just fucking ripping a lot just to say fuck you, just to try and like punish them a little bit for using this sizing, which I guess you're not if I guess we're not punishing that much, but also maybe to just dissuade them from 3-betting you quite so much if they know they're just either going to win all the time or be put all in all the time. Maybe it slightly dissuades them long term from doing it quite as often against you. I don't know. Anyone's got any thoughts? I mean, most people are going to say this is too wide, shouldn't do it, and I agree. This is too wide, shouldn't be done. But just in general on the spot, can we just 4-bet rip that relatively wide against these 12x or 13x 3-bets? I mean, I fully accept this is a punt. I'm not putting this hand in to justify it. Just like what's bottom of range, basically. If we're going to have like an all-in strategy, what's bottom of range for all in, I guess. Turned up with ace king. And we lose the flip. No big deal. My own fault. Probably shouldn't have been in the spot anyway. And here we've got the jacks. And we're going to go multi-way. This isn't a board I'm going to want to bet very often. This isn't me, like, trying to adopt modern theories. I've given an awful lot of modern theories up, given that I'm now playing in much softer games. I'm kind of very much old school Reggie this last few days, maybe last week or so, and I've enjoyed being old school Reggie. A lot of it's theoretically unsound. I'm not trying to adhere to any like modern theory. If I do things, there's some things in modern theory I like. A lot of it I don't like in the games I'm in, and a lot of it I just don't enjoy doing. Even if I think it's effective, I just don't enjoy it. I don't like the way the game flows when you do some of it. So yeah, this isn't a range check or anything like that. There are some hands I would bet here just for pure protection, like aces, kings, etc. But in generally speaking, we've got top set, multi-way. Hope one of these two guys bets behind, and then just try and get a raising. It's going to be the strategy. Rancid does furnish us with a bet. And we're not super deep here, but we're starting to have like an extra 30 or so bigs deep. Or post flop, an extra 30 or as bigger deep. Rancid, I think, is a decent player. I used to have Rancid yellow tagged. I thought he was a fucking nit. I've been disabused of that notion over the last couple of months. He's certainly not a nit. I think he's a pain in the ass to have to your left. He's a pain in the ass in general to have at your table. I'm not saying he's like worldy. I'm not saying he's, oh my god, he's mind-bendingly good. He's just, a looser than me, aggressive, as far as I could tell, solid regular. He goes with this size. I just thought, fuck SP. I didn't really know what size. I knew I wasn't going to be able to check raise here to a size where we could just jam turn for less than pot. So my plan here was just raise to a, slightly less than 3x and probably just like bomb most turns except blue ones. So Rancid calls. Another flush draw is created, and I think Rancid's left with about 30 here, is he? 31. So we've got like 130% pot left. And on this board, I would want to jam all my draws, Queen 10 suited, nut flush draws, backdoor nut flush draws. I'd want to jam all of those. So I just go with the jam with the jacks too. Rancid calls it. It's just like a total cooler. I was discussing that with the hand with Rancid at the tables later because he is chatty at the tables. I like chatting with him. He's a decent guy. He seems to be a decent guy. I mean, he could be an absolute fucking monster of a human being, but he doesn't seem to be. He seems like a nice enough fellow. We were chatting about it later at another table where I was just teasing him when someone was saying there was no value at the table, etc. And I was like, oh, Rancid's value, he can't afford the set, etc. And we were discussing it, and it's there's nothing you can do with set it's just a cooler. But he did say he kind of wanted to fall, but knew he just couldn't do it. And I'm not surprised because Rancid knows I'm a fucking massive nit, and what have you, but he also said you probably do that with aces and kings, and he's right. I absolutely play aces and kings the same way some of the time. Maybe not in that exact spot because it's multi-way. Maybe I just bet the aces and the kings and only check raise sets and draws. Who knows? But yeah, it's a grim spot for him, but he's just got to put the money in. Right, so we're over to the Duesenberg section now. This is the final table of the mini main event on Sky. Duesenberg is, I don't know if he's chip leader at this point, but if he's not, he's close to it. No, he's not. He's second in chips. He's min raised the button. Poppy Dew has called. The flop has come down the ace, 6-3 two-tone. Duesenberg goes with the bet. Poppy Dew snap goes all in. And when Duesenberg snap calls, you just know he's going to have something monstrous here. And he does. He has the 2 pair, and Poppy Jew has the 8-7. So GG Poppy Jew. Duesenberg's about to collect your bounty, and he's going to get heads up with another Discorder, LMFAO All In, otherwise known as Nitmac to the Sky Discord people, or James, or fuck. We've got about 1 million fucking names. And then that happens. I mean, you shouldn't laugh because I fucking love Duesenberg, but how fucking ridiculous is that? Guy gets it in with literally just a backdoor straight draw. 3-handed in the mini main event, you know, where there's probably the winner's going to get upwards of £500, I would imagine, and third place is going to get not very much, and it just goes bish bash bosh. And I love Juice, and I was rooting for him to win this. You know, I like LMFO All In too, but you know, I really like Juice, and I was rooting for him to win the tournament. And I saw that, I was like, what the fuck is that? How has that just fucking happened? But at the same time, you just got to fucking laugh, haven't you? Imagine if that had happened on Duesenberg's stream. I mean, the salt would have been over fucking flowing. You know, it would have been like fucking. It would have been an avalanche of salt. The reaction would have been priceless. And this is why we need Duesenberg back streaming. I think we all need to go on his Twitter and just beg him to come back streaming, because his reaction to something like this would have been absolutely priceless. It would have been a Twitch moment for the ages. Sadly, we didn't get that on Twitch last night, but hopefully we do sooner rather than later, because, you know, in my opinion, the Sky Poker community needs Juice back streaming, and it needs him back streaming soon. So do get on his social, get on his Twitter, tell him to get his ass back, and, you know, needle him about this hand, because much as I love him, it was fucking hilarious. And yeah, so he's down to 3 big blinds. Very next hand, he's going to be all in again. He's in a race for 60k. I guess he's slightly back in it if he wins this one. There you go. He's only got to dodge the river. No. Bye-bye, Juice. Nice knowing you, mate. He's gone. So he's gone from second in chips, and maybe he's the best short-handed player at this table, so got a good chance of winning, to just go bish, bash, bosh, fuck off, Juice. Enjoy your time on the rail. LFL went to win the tournament. It took him a while to chop Poppy Jew down heads up, but he eventually did. And congratulations to you, James. Unlucky to you, Duesenberg, but fuck me. That 8-7 hand was certainly one that will stick in the memory for a while. Anyways, on to the last hand of the video. Here we've got a situation. I'll do this a lot in these games. I'm kind of giving my strategy away to other regulars, but I don't really give a fuck about that, because it's not them I'm looking to play big pots with necessarily. When I've got a green tag, and especially a blue tag to go behind, and an aggressive blue tag at that, I'm just not going to do an awful lot of 3-betting. I'm going to want to invite these guys into the pot when we're hoping one of them 3-bets. Now, Conlex isn't aggressive pre-flop. He's not going to 3-bet, but Steve is pretty aggressive pre-flop. So I want Steve to put more money in, hopefully, and then I just want to try and shut Rancid out. That's the strategy here. We were hoping what happens here is Rancid calls, we just get to back raise. Rancid tanks deep in the tank, and he 4-bets himself to £12. I mean, at this point, if Rancid's just got a good hand, then it's just a cooler, and we're going to get the money in. Hopefully Steve comes along, and if Steve commits his money, then it doesn't really matter what Rancid's got except 2 aces. We're just going to be getting reasonable price with our cards. Steve snapballs. Rancid's deep in the tank, and he finally folds his hand. And we discussed this. I stayed at the table for a while afterwards. He asked me what I had at first. I told him he'd have to watch the video, but he's a good guy. So a bit later on, I told him that I had ace king, and he told me he had pocket nines. So that worked out rather nicely for us. We just got to pick up 17 quid without seeing a flop. against a hand that was maybe a small favourite against us. So pretty pleased with that outcome. And yeah, I'm going to be doing that quite a lot. Is when there's like good players have opened, and I've got like weaker players behind. I'm just not going to freeze them out of the pot. I'm just going to say, right, come into the pot. Fully accept that I'm letting them in and then like letting them have a chance to hit, especially against that Ace King that aren't particularly a strong favourite. It's just how I like to play. I think there's pros and cons to it. Um, Obviously, I think there's more pros and cons, or I wouldn't be doing it. And it also, I think, makes me a little bit harder to play against the slightly better players because I'm just going to have stronger hands in my range than they would expect. So hopefully, it makes me, in some ways, probably makes me easier to play against. In other words, hopefully, it makes me a little bit harder to play against because I'll have more strong hands in my range than they would perhaps expect me to, unless they watch my videos and then they'll be fully aware of what I'm doing and it won't be as much of a surprise to them. But fuck that. I'm not going to be playing against them too often because they're going to be game setting pretty well. So that's the end of the videos. A very quick look at the graph for the month, and as you can see, it's fucking pathetic. I mean, we've made like around $600 with rate back, so it's not a total fucking disaster. What's that, about 400 quid? But it's not good. It's not good. We played like whatever that is, like 80,000 hands nearly, and if it wasn't for rate back, I'd have made fucking what, $150. Absolutely fucking useless. There's lots of reasons for that. First reasons, I don't think I've got the edge that I thought I had in those games. Secondly, a lot of this has been played on GG and GG and Party Poker, just because that's where you get the better rewards. But the games are fucking atrocious. I guess games that, well, I not guess, I know games that attract. Games that like give you more rate back. That's going to be more attractive to regulars. I mean, the games on GG, 25 on a Russian cash, it's a fucking sewer. It's worse than PokerStars Zoom ever was. When I like self-excluded from PokerStars for 5 years back in 2019, because I was like kind of addicted to Zoom, and it was just bad for me. I wasn't making very much money at it. And I was putting all my volume there. It was just a bad combination of I'm putting all my volume and all my hours into bad games. And these triple eight games are even fucking worse. They're raked even higher. There's like all kinds of like they take money out to fund the bomb pots that they do. It's just a pretty high rake environment in general. And I was only getting like 20% rate back, but the reason that blue line's so high is because I ran really good in there, like GG care tournaments. I think I cashed in them maybe 5 times, 6 times over the course of the month. So luckily the rate backs bailed me out from the month not being a complete fucking waste of time. And I think there's like a £100 profit from Sky to go on there. So maybe we made like 500 quid for the month when you put Sky on. So it's not been a total write-off of a month because we've made some money, so we can't complain too much. But in terms of like how many hours and how much effort I put in, the return on that, like my time and mental energy investment is fucking pathetic. It's awful. So I made the decision early last week to just fuck speed poker off. Like this 70,000 hands, nearly 80,000 hands, that was done in like 16 days. Maybe 16, 17 days, most of that was done in. Because I was going hell for leather at the start of the month. And I think it was towards the end, not last week, but the week before, I just hit a wall with it. I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to play speed poker. You're just a fucking busy fool. There's no one putting money in pots too loud. It's just like, well, open, 3-bet call, set mine, hit a set, hit a set, get the money in, or don't hit a set and fold. And maybe now and again you get people who got a bit sticky with their mid pair, so you can get a little bit of value. But it's just such a stale, formulaic game. It's just so many people playing very similar strategies. And I just don't think, well, certainly not for me anyway. I don't think there's much edge in it. I mean, it's interesting because if I one tabled 25 and L snap, I think I could probably beat it for 6.5, maybe 7 bigs 100. But that's not going to make a lot of money over the month because you just fucking one table and you snap at 200 hands an hour, 250 hands an hour. So you're going to play 30,000 hands a month at maybe 6 bigs 100, big fucking deals. You're going to win 60% of 30 buy-ins. So maybe you win 16, 17 buy-ins with no rate back. So that's making probably less than I made in the month doing what I did. If I one tabled fast forward on party poker, I'd maybe beat it for 2.5, 3 bigs, 100 with a little bit of rate back. Basically, I think no matter how I cut it up, $500-$600 a month is the most I can make. Whether I one table or two table or four table with rate back and try and be more of a like rate back grinder, whichever way I cut it up, it feels to me like $500-$600 a month would be like the ceiling of my earnings at 25 an L. And if I move to 50 an L against maybe a pool with like a lot of players who are better than me, maybe I'm not even winning at all. Maybe I'm a losing player. So it wasn't. I made a conscious decision to stop playing, but it wasn't like I've done in the past with I'm going to stop playing this because I think it's the right thing to do. I actually just didn't want to fucking play anymore. Didn't want to look at those tables, and it's a much better place to stop from. If you're stopping when you still kind of want to battle it, it's hard. It just sucks you back in and sucks you back in and sucks you back in. But I was just sick to fucking death of it back then, and so I decided just to like fuck around on Sky a bit more. I stopped enjoying poker, and I wanted to enjoy it. It's important to me to enjoy it. It's my main hobby. It's important to enjoy the game. It's also important for me to make money from it because if I don't, it's get a job time. So there's two reasons why it's important that I wasn't like wasting my time completely, or felt like I was wasting a lot of my time in those games. Now I'm not going to lie, I've had a couple of terms where like there's been not much traffic on Sky at a certain part of the day, and I just wanted to play. And I made small deposits and instantly regretted it. So I know it's pretty good. Like Sunday night, late on. There was just nothing after midnight, and Sky cash games were almost dead. So I put a small amount of money on AAA. I made $23 the first day, in the first session. I had another session last night early on, and I lost like whatever that. When you can see how it went right at the end of the graph, I won a little bit, lost a little bit. So over the course of the two sessions, I think I lost like $12, something like that. And I was just like, this is shit. I'm just not enjoying it. As soon as I like log in, open the tables and the playing, I'm just like, the mood and the enjoyment I was getting from Sky just wasn't there. It just wasn't fucking there. So I just snapped withdrew my money again and just thought, fuck it. When there's nothing to do on Sky, just gotta accept it. There's nothing to do on Sky. I'm just not playing poker for a while. I'll just have to do something else. So yeah, there's the scores on the doors for the month. Not a total waste of time because we made some money, but not the month I was hoping for. And for March, it's going to be very much, well, almost 100% focusing on Sky, just 2-3 tabling and trying to play like all of my volume. I don't really want to be dipping into 20 and L. Certainly won't dip into 10 and L. I want to try and focus on like 30 and L. I think is my sweet spot. Good 15 L tables, fine with them too. And at the end of the month, just to hopefully get 120 hours in. And I don't really care what my hourly is, to be honest with you. Just if I can just make £6, 600 quid by the end of the month on Sky, then happy days. More than happy with that. Crack on, get on to the next month, Rich. The most exciting thing about March is going to be the fact it's Cheltenham. Cheltenham is coming 2 weeks from now. It's the first day of Cheltenham. And I'm going to give you a warning. There's going to be 4 videos in Cheltenham week, and none of them are going to be poker related. So yeah, I'd imagine there's going to be some thumbs down and shit like that. But just because I love Cheltenham, I'm planning at the morning of every Cheltenham, just going through every race on the card, on the Racing Post website, and just giving my early thoughts on races. They won't always be what end up being my selections because I like to wait until later in the day. Um, to like listen to trainers, listen to jockeys, listen to owners, listen to the pundits, and form my final opinion. But I'm going to do like a Cheltenham preview every day. The videos will do shit. They'll struggle to get like over 100 odd viewers. Don't give a fuck. It's my channel. I want to enjoy doing what I'm doing on my channel. So I'm going to do that. And I know some of you guys do like racing. So those of you that do, hopefully you'll enjoy them. Those of you that don't, fuck you. You're just going to get shit content for the week. Nah, I don't give a fuck. Deal with it. What I do want to do with the channel, if it wasn't for the fact that I enjoyed making videos, I wouldn't even be doing it now because there's no way to monetize any of this. I'm not offering coaching anymore because I'm clearly not good enough to, in my opinion. It's not good enough. I think I'm good enough to help players get better, not really good enough to charge anyone. So I'm not doing coaching anymore, not involved with the apps anymore. So there's no real reason to do the YouTube except from the fact that sometimes I just enjoy doing it. So my goal for for YouTube going forward is to just hopefully encourage you guys to to support the channel and try and get back to the point where my videos are getting like 500 views in a week. So when I put a video up, like when this video goes up today on Tuesday, I'd like to look Tuesday next week and see it have 500 views. At the minute, I'm getting around 300 views a week. I'd like to get to 500 views per week per video, and then up and up. I don't make any money from YouTube at all. I don't monetize it. I hope you guys don't see ads on my videos. I don't monetize it at all. It's just an old man's hobby. But I would like to grow it again. When I first started, it was just to, grow the channel, have some fun with it. So I want to get to like some point where my videos are getting 500 views in a week, and then hopefully it will snowball from that. And I can get to where towards the end of the year when I'm getting like 1,000 views a week per video I put out. Even though I won't make any money from that, I just enjoy doing that and hopefully growing the channel a little bit. So yeah, that's the plans for March. Basically, bum hunt Sky, enjoy Cheltenham, bore the fuck out of you lot with racing videos, and at the end of the month, hopefully report some good news. But I'm gonna shoot off now because I do have an appointment. It's 11 o'clock. I am going to be late for an appointment if I'm not careful, an online appointment. So I'll leave it there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you got something from it. Any comments on any of the hands, please put them beneath the video. And if you just want to call me a cunt, please do that too. Right, I'm off, guys. Have a great day, have a great week, and I'll be back sometime next week with my next video. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye for now.